Hello, my lovelies. I hope you're having a good day and have been considering the challenges set forth by guidance for you. And so today, it's been suggested to talk about the concept of I'm not even sure how to put the word. I'm going to say faith. So, what does faith mean? Well, we all have this kind of innate desire to have trust that there's something beyond us on the human realm. And there totally is, right? We can't possibly consider that we are the it of it. Okay. It's just not, from what I hear in general, is just not part of our nature. And so there are so many different terms for this potential space that you can have faith and trust in its power, in its presence for us, right? So for some people, it's the name of it is God, and multiple names for the God. And there is guidance, and there is spirit, and there's universe, and there's source, there's nature, and if none of those fit, there's also potential of the collective unconscious, and also the possible of just quantum energy. So they all sort of represent the same thing. Okay? They are a beyond us explanation for clarity, acceptance, love, some confusion, but definitely involves a relationship between us and that energy. And so you have the option of finding what that term means. For some, any religious terms just don't work because of religious scar tissue that have been created because of the person in the lead of that particular religious role, or because there's a need to do an opposition to a family structure of what religion to the family meant, and all that sort of thing. And so that's okay to have something that you need unique to you if it's different from where you came from. For me, I could put a name on the religion that we would probably have come from. We just didn't do a lot in that realm. So being more non-denominational, nature-based is really where my faith and trust resides. And I'm fine with all the other names that people want to use for their particular source of faith and trust. What's important in what I'm hearing is that we do give it some reverence and some time and build that relationship regardless of what we call it. And certainly do away with judgment about what other people call it, because much like there are different cultures and the names for those cultures, there's so many different houses of faith and trust. And it's more important to understand the person than to have an understanding of the title with which they give their faith and trust up to or support to. And I'm sensing and I'm hearing that part of all the diversity and the this is mine, this is my religion, this is my culture, this is my da da da. If it could just be more inclusive and have each person really, 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 really look at what their beliefs are around that concept and be very, very clear and perhaps do away with the blindly following part and really just, because that doesn't give, that blindly following anything disallows for true commitment. If you're just doing it because you just do it, again, is there really any strength behind that? It doesn't feel like there is. And so one challenge question for you is, what is it that you have faith and trust in that is beyond yourself? And just some observation about where that came from and how that came to be. What is it that you revere about that source and that relationship? And is it something that you chose for yourself, or is it something that you're blindly following and have no connection to it? There are a lot of people who I have observed, certainly, that follow the concepts of yoga, meditation, veganism, paleo, whatever, right? And have that, and be very, very, very strong opinion to the point of attempting conversion for everybody. And that, we have to be very careful about stuff like that as a culture, because it's disallowing people their process and they're finding their ways, and disallowing individualism. So I have also experienced where, for whatever has led people to be very, not so much obedient, but like orthodox, right? Like strong will, which I think is really cool, as long as you're not pushing it on everybody. However, just like any other religion or any other title that you want to give to your place of faith and trust, it does not excuse you, it does not excuse any of us from also being humanistic to other people, right? So the goal of faith and trust is to not, let me restate that. The goal of faith and trust is to be more inclusive as a whole than exclusive. So it's something to look at. And most people don't even know that they're being exclusive in their behavior. And so that would be your second challenge. What is it that you do or belief that you hold that is exclusionary to others? And is that something you want to do, or was it something you had no idea you were doing? Okay. So those are your two challenge questions today. One is, what do you call the place and the power with which you have faith and trust? And where did that come from? And then the second half is, what do you do that perhaps you may exclude other people because they do not do that? Question mark. All right, so those are your challenges, and I appreciate that you are taking the time to recognize things within yourself for personal growth and for self-empowerment, because honestly, that's what we have to fall back on. There may be times where other people are just not going to get what your needs are, where you need to go, and so having that faith and trust in another element will be your saving grace at times in your life. And so building that relationship outside of desperation is going to be really important. I love helping people out of desperate scenarios just because I can. At the same time, I had a client come in, and she had said that she was actually feeling better before the session and considered canceling. And I, what I heard to express to her was, don't wait until the toilet no longer flushes to call for help. Sometimes it's nice just to do maintenance work, and so it's not always out of desperation and because you're seeping and leaking and overflowing in places that you don't want to. So yeah, so it's about that constant work, and there really is no done until you're done, literally done. So we don't have to push it so hard all the time, and yet, you know, learn from the great times versus just from the crummy times, right? It's not unfamiliar for people to call on their source of faith and trust when things are going horribly, right? And then if it doesn't come through, there's this upset and feeling abandoned and all this sort of thing. And so that happens within a relationship where it's really not been developed, regardless with whom it is. So again, no matter what you call it, there needs to be some time for reverence and strengthening that relationship. And there is no source, power, energy that will ever tell you to do anything poorly and against other humans. It's just not the way it works. So, I did mention the quantum level. You know, the quantum level is a very interesting thing. We see it in some retrospect as an example in Hollywood movies, The Matrix being one of them. However, obviously Einstein brought this up a long time ago, as did Tesla bring up energy system possibilities a long time ago. And the idea that there are multiple layers going on at the same time, just because we can't see them, doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And now there is a greater belief that energy precedes form. So if energy precedes form, then it's a requirement for us to update how we see energy and how we work with energy, the energy fields, and the multiple layers of energies that are possible within the quantum theory of energy levels. So you can go scientific and nerdy, you can go religious, you can go whatever way you want to go. The point is, get a strong relationship with it. Study it. Spend time with it. Nurture it. Through the good times, the calm and easy times, as well as through the times when you're needing major support. Because, again, it's what a true relationship is, right? So I wish you much empowerment. It's not necessarily a small, tickle little subject. Though these videos are not based in like dramatically in-depth conversations. They are to inspire thought and some beginnings of clarity. And if it brings up confusion, that's okay too. I don't mind. Confusion is the first step in gaining clarity. So I will talk to you another day.